Hi everybody, this is Jodi Luster, or JL, and you are on Elevated Living at elevateme.org. We continue October's month-long series on mindset, and today we're going to discuss having our mindset on exchange. Now, I could have done two different mindset series, and one on receiving and one on giving, but I thought that it's a lot more powerful to have your mindset on exchange so that you're always in the framework of both giving and receiving. It is part of the continuum to keep our lives in balance because, of course, there's yin and there's yang, there's light and there's dark, and in everything there is a balance. And so to keep it that way, let's focus on exchange. Now, why is exchange important? Well, I believe that it is good, it is excellent to be a giver. And some of us have a servant's attitude and we love to give. But my personal experience has taught me that even though the cliche goes that it's better to give than to receive, that it's very, very difficult to be a good and a gracious giver if you are not a good and gracious receiver. I mean by that is some of us have a hard time receiving things. Some of us have a hard time being gracious about it if we aren't having a hard time actually receiving things. There are times when people will give you something, and sometimes it's advice. Sometimes it's something you might say, I don't want that. But it's a gift. And instead of us being gracious receivers, we usually add our opinion or add a slant on it or have a face, or we don't do well at receiving the thing at all. And so we are like, well, no, I was just going to give you something. You don't have to give me anything, or you don't have to do anything for me. And why do we do that? And then we are worn down and tired and exhausted because life, to be in a balance, you must have something that fills you up. And if you think of us as vessels, and if you think that, we have a spiritual life, then we're vessels. And we can get filled up and we can get emptied. If you think of it in a more practical term, we take in breath, but we also must release breath, right? And you cannot take in any more than you can release, nor can you release any more than you can take in. It's always in balance. So having a mindset on exchange is following the natural flow of how we work. There's only so much water we can take in, then we have to release it. There's only so much food you can take in, then you have to release it. There's only so much air you can take in, then you have to release it. So we must not only be good givers, but we also must be good receivers. It keeps us in balance, and it keeps our minds set on exchange. There's a power in that, and to be able to give as much as you receive, and to be gracious about both. It works for business. When you come to the table to take care of business, do we have a mindset that not only might be receiving something, I might be getting something out of this deal, but what thing of value am I bringing to the table? If it's conversation with a friend, it's nice to have our friends listen to us, but do we ever stop and say, well, maybe I need to give my ear, not just my opinion. I can listen and take in, and then I can give. And sometimes you give by listening, and sometimes you give by giving advice. But both of those are a part of an exchange. So have our minds set on exchange and learning how to be good receivers as well as good givers, good and gracious receivers. Learning how to say thank you and to be happy in what we've received and to be good about taking that in, using it, that which is useful, and then giving back that which is not. And again, it's very important and so excellent to be a good giver. Some of us, again, have that servant's heart, and we want to give, and it's okay to give. But let's remember, too, that we must be filled so that we can be emptied. So this has been Jodi Luster on Elevated Living at elevateme.org. And as always, I'm wishing you to be a good giver and a good receiver, along with the very best of life. Talk to you later.